Beg your pardon?
You would continue boxing even if you would lose over there.
I beg your pardon?
You don't think about losing?
No. Thank you. Nice talking.
Step into the ring and witness the sheer force of nature that is George Foreman. A man whose fists weren't just weapons, they were earthquakes in gloves. Standing at 6'3" and weighing in at over 220 pounds of pure power, Foreman wasn't just a boxer, he was a destroyer. We're going to show the greatest knockouts by Big George and end it with arguably the greatest moment in boxing history. In his prime, George Foreman was unstoppable. With a punch so ferocious, it could send opponents flying across the ring, quite literally Joe Frazier. He became one of the most feared heavyweights in boxing history. His raw strength and relentless aggression made him a living nightmare for anybody who dared step in the ring with him. But Foreman wasn't just strong, he was iconic. From his Olympic gold medal to becoming the oldest heavyweight champion in history at age 45, his journey is the stuff of legends. He didn't just fight opponents, he demolished them, leaving an amazing mark on the sport of boxing. So, buckle up as we dive into the life, the power, and the legacy of the one and only George Foreman, a true titan of the ring. This is a story of strength, resilience, and sheer dominance.
Foreman is teeing off, and it looks like Norton has really been staggered as he went up against the rope. The referee is giving it the count. Yes, he'll have to take the 8 count.
This bout was part of George Foreman's early professional career, as he was still establishing himself as a rising heavyweight contender. At the time, Foreman was an Olympic gold medalist and had an undefeated record, but he was fighting a very durable and tough opponent. This was Foreman's biggest test so far and his chance to establish himself on the world stage. Was he good enough to challenge for the world title? That was the question.
Both are very strong.
Chuvalo was an awkward fighter to fight against. He was a contender. He wasn't number one, but he was a contender. So if you weren't on your game, he would take you out. Typically, you'd want to be cautious around him. And what Foreman did very well was pushing his opponent away. This was a staple in his career, and we could see this a lot during his fight with Chuvalo. Keeping his opponent at bay, using his jab, and making sure that it's playing to Foreman's strengths. I want you to take note of George Foreman's style here early in his career. It's almost as if he's a boxer. He's light on his feet, he's moving around the ring, he's jabbing. You'll notice as we go through the years, he slows down a little bit, he changes his style, he becomes a little bit more of a slugger. But he actually professed that early in his career, he was trying to be a boxer. You know, he was light on his feet, he was throwing the jab. He won the Olympics by doing so. It was only sort of later in his career when he realized he was such a big puncher. You know, you should play to your strengths here. Why would you be a boxer when you hit this hard?
Chuvalo is taking. He is now spitting blood. Chuvalo being battered in his own corner. And Irving Underwood, his manager, is asking the referee to stop it. He's climbing into the ring. The referee hasn't heard him. It's all over. It's all over. Arthur McCanty has stopped the fight. Irving Underwood, to give him credit, his manager was climbing in there. There's the winner, George Foreman. Irving Ungerman wanted the fight stopped. It was no contest, almost.
January 22nd, 1973. Kingston, Jamaica. The undefeated heavyweight champion, Smoking Joe Frazier, steps into the ring to face the unstoppable force, Big George Foreman. Despite Foreman's superior size and reach here, he was not expected to beat Frazier, and he was actually a 3-1 underdog going into this fight. But as we know, the fight showed the opposite of this. Foreman needed to step up again, and this was his chance to get the heavyweight title. He did that and more in one of the most dominant heavyweight performances ever. We'll see shortly. Now you remember in the first fight, it was almost as if he was a boxer. He's very light on his feet. He's still young here, but you can see the difference in style. He's stalking his opponent. He's still throwing the jab, but he's using, his biggest asset, which is his strength and his size.
Foreman having a very good round. Frazier went down. Taking the mandatory 8 count. A minute to go in the round. Frazier's in real trouble here. Frazier seems to be hurt. He's being rocked. Foreman in complete charge of the fight. Frazier fighting back gamely, but he's having trouble. There's the countdown, 20 seconds to go. Frazier down again. Frazier's wobbling around. He's taking the mandatory 8 count. The round is almost over. Foreman after him again. Frazier has never taken this kind of punishment. He goes down at the bell. Arthur McCanny rules. Now he is taking the mandatory 8 count at the bell, but he's up. Frazier was down 3 times. Yancey Gorham is holding him there. Foreman in complete charge. Up to now, Frazier and Pollard. Foreman is being warned. Frazier is being battered in Foreman's corner. Joe's about to go down. He does. He goes down again. Joe is desperately trying to get to his feet. He's on his feet. He's taking the mandatory 8 count. 45 seconds to go in the round. Goes him down 4 times. There goes Joe down again. Joe bounces up. 5 times he's been down. Foreman at him again. It's hard to see how Frazier can last. No, he's trying to get his man to a neutral corner. Frazier doesn't know where he is. The fight is over. The fight is over. The winner is George Foreman.
On March 26, 1974, in Venezuela, George Foreman defended his heavyweight title against the slick and skilled Ken Norton, who had famously broken Muhammad Ali's jaw just a year earlier. Norton, known for his cunning defense and counter-punching and slick boxing skills, entered the ring confident he could outbox the seemingly invincible Foreman. But George had other plans. From the opening bell, Foreman unleashed his trademark ferocity, stalking Norton with relentless power punches that left no room for strategy. For me, this fight against Norton is one of my favourites. Norton was awesome. He gave a hard fight to everybody, whether it be Ali, whether it be Frasier, whoever it was, he was always a threat. He was 6'3", he was a great boxer, he was fast, his reflexes were fantastic, his footwork was brilliant. But Foreman just dismantled him in this fight. He used his strength. Again, he stalked his opponent, pushed him around, and he just took him out.
Norton is a bit stunned as Foreman is teeing off, and it looks like Norton has really been staggered as he went up against the rope. The referee is giving it the count. Yes, you'll have to take the 8 count. Okay, 7, 8, and here we go as Foreman comes banging on in the second round. Norton goes down again. A left hand on the side of the head. Norton goes back. You'll have to take another 8 count. No, he doesn't. His legs are rubbery as the left hand goes to the side of his head. A right uppercut, a left jab, and a vicious left sends Norton crumbling to the canvas for the second time. Norton is in Queersville. He doesn't know where he is. It's up to 5, 6. I don't know if Norton can make it. It might be all over.
It was a brutal display of Foreman's raw dominance, proving once again that when it came to sheer power, no one could withstand it. There was nobody in the world even close to him.
Walked down that aisle before as a challenger. He walked down there in Jamaica against Joe Frazier all the way back in January of 1973.
Now, on November 5th, 1994, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, history hung in the balance as 45-year-old George Foreman, 45 years of age, challenged the undefeated heavyweight champion, Mora. Mora, a younger, faster, and technically skilled fighter, represented the new guard of boxing, while Foreman, the old lion, carried the hopes of every underdog dreaming of one last shot at glory.
All right, Michael, George, we went over the rules in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Give me a good, clean fight, and bear one thing in mind. I'm the boss man in here. Shake hands, good luck.
The fight was a classic tale of youth versus experience, speed versus power, and ambition versus legacy. With the world watching, Foreman aimed to defy time itself and reclaim the heavyweight crown he had lost 2 decades earlier. It was more than a fight, it was a moment that would define legacies, etch itself into boxing lore forever. This is one of the greatest moments in boxing.
The traditional boxing stance. He doesn't have his arms crossed. Moore is establishing the jab, and as you said, fighting on the inside, looking just to double up on that jab and then come in with that great left of his.
Now in this fight against Mora, I really want you to listen to the commentary that was happening live at the fight. They were constantly talking down about George. They were saying he's finished, there's no way he can win this fight. He's not the same fighter he once was. There's no chance he's going to win this fight. Just listen to exactly how they talk, and it just makes that moment that more special.
Michael's standing right in there, landing that jab at will. George looks very tentative and very slow.
Usual, not bothering to sit on a stool between rounds. Moore was told by Teddy Atlas to move a little, not stay within punching range.
Well, interestingly enough, he's saying you're in range of George's hands.
Obey the commands of Teddy Atlas, whom he has a lot of belief in and a lot of respect.
If you remember the first round even of the Jerry Cooney fight.
Foreman turned pro back in 1969. Michael Moore was 1.5 years old on the night that George Foreman turned professional. Now Moore coming on, getting his jab home and following it up with a left cross. Moore picking up some momentum now, avoiding the punches of Foreman and coming forward and landing. And there he landed a good right hand to the belly.
I've got to think at this point that Foreman's got Moore outweighed by probably 28 pounds at the weigh-in. I would say it's closer to 40 pounds right now.
It is amazing, but it does look like George wasn't turning down any burgers in the last 2 days. Moore always answers right back. There's a good right by Moore.
George is hurt and holds on for the first time in the fight. You better not underestimate that right hand of Moore, because Moore is a natural right-hander who converted over to fight lefty. No timing, very slow, very sluggish.
Well, did you think he'd be a little sharper than this? But he hasn't fought for 16 months, but he comes in with a combination.
I expected a little bit more possibly in the early rounds. I expected a little bit more aggression from George. I expected the cross-arm style and I expected him to be moving forward. Probably the biggest unknown factor is what this 18-month layoff was going to do. He lost his last fight to Tommy Morrison, who has since been exposed to really be nothing. 18 months is the longest layoff he's had at any active part of his career, period. And at 40, almost 46 years of age, unless he's saving something, Rich, there's nothing there.
He did land a right uppercut in close, but Moore taking all the punches that Foreman has thrown and landed tonight very well. Has not been rattled yet. There's a good right hand from George Foreman. Again, Moore answers right back. Good jab again from Moore. And again, boy, is nice work with that right hand from Moore. Foreman still dangerous. Lands a right hand. George ran into an uppercut, though, on the way in and trying to follow up.
Moore took two really good right-hand leads from Foreman and came back and was able to fire on his own.
George trying to follow up. But Moore very dangerous in front of him. Moore felt those punches. Right hand from Foreman again, partially blocked by Moore.
You got a question at this point, is Foreman's punch totally gone, or does Michael Moore have a better chin than we all gave him credit for?
Now here comes Moore back, crowd roaring.
And I got to say, considering the Moore was dropped by Holyfield, who's considered a light puncher, and Bigfoot Martin, you got to think that George's punch has finally left him at almost 46 years of age, Rich. Now he's got a little bit of what, if you would have tried to choreograph the fight in advance, this is a little bit more of what you expected. He's got George chasing him. He's moving to his right. He's using the jab. He's not going in and trading with George as he had done in the earlier rounds, Richard.
Foreman almost squared right up to him. You know, in addition to all the skills that we just talked about him developing, obviously his confidence has been built to the point where he's supremely confident.
The commentators were right, in a way. This wasn't the same George Foreman. He knew he just needed that one moment of brilliance, that one moment to showcase his power, and he could win.
Similar situation with Muhammad Ali against Larry Holmes, a guy well past his prime, taking on a champion in his prime. Ali got into cosmetic, beautiful shape. Everybody saw Ali, and they all went running to the betting windows to bet on him, driving the odds down, much the way that the odds were driven down on this fight when they saw Foreman looking in reasonable shape. And now George, following the advice of Angelo Dundee, has come out here strong in round number 10. Looking to land that right. There's a left hook that he finally landed tonight. You know, that's a tremendous punch for George when he can land it, but it hasn't been there for him.
Very tough punch, though, a little bit.
And another punch from Foreman and another left hook. And Moore's leg actually slipped out from underneath him. So again, I think Moore has felt the power of Foreman, what power is left even in round 10 of a fight in which he is desperately behind. And Teddy Atlas concerned in the corner.
Well, another reason that the left hook is landing is Teddy said to Michael, move all the time to your right now and stay away from the right hand. So George had to adapt, and there he goes. He's walking into the left hook.
George Foreman enjoying his best round of the fight here in round 10. There's a right hand, and down goes Moore. He's flat on his back. He may not get up. That maybe he's not moving. Moore could be about to lose the heavyweight title. I don't believe it. So Cortez pulled up the count. Moxley is once again the heavyweight champion of the world. Now let's take a look at the replay.
Watch for the beautiful left hook right hand combination. He walked